Hello everybody, how y'all doing? My name is Rafael and thank you for watching today's video. And since I realized that you guys enjoyed and liked quite a lot, I would say, the last Division 2 build that I made regarding red builds, you know, the best red build, today I decided to make a similar red build, but this time invest less in critical hit damage and more on multiplicative bonuses. And that's, you know, damage to targets out of cover, health damage, and damage to armor. See, you know, how the outcome would be, if it would be a nice, fun to play with build, if it would be effective, and then if it was worth it. I'm gonna show it to you, and it turns out it's pretty good. So let's just start off with very basic things. First of all, my SHD watch, because it's over 1000 levels, gives me 10% weapon damage, 10% critical hit chance, 20% critical hit damage, and 20% headshot damage. That's quite important. If you don't have those stats, obviously your numbers are gonna end up looking different than mine are. Moving on to the specialization, I'm using the gunner. Why am I using the gunner? For the 10% ammo that we get when we kill enemies, and for the large pouch item, which you're gonna figure out later why we need that. Of course, I have invested the bonuses or the points, I don't know, call them as you like, on the assault rifle here for the 15% assault rifle extra damage, and on the light machine gun another 50% increased damage there, since we're gonna be using those two as our weapons. If we go to my stats, you will see that we have 53.4% critical hit chance and 155% critical hit damage. If you want, you can change one mod, because as you will see, all my mods are critical hit damage. You can change one of those mods. Let's say I change the mask and I put a 6% critical hit chance, then you have full critical hit chance and a little less critical hit damage. It's whatever, doesn't really matter, to be honest. You can go with whatever you prefer. Now let's talk about the weapons. My first weapon of choice is the Police 4, one of the best assault rifles out there. Two very good assault rifles instead of the Police 4, of course, is the FAMAS and then the Carbine 7. If you don't have a good Police 4 and you have one good FAMAS or one good Carbine 7 with damage targets out of cover, that's good as well. As you can see, assault rifle damage is not even maxed out on my M4, so I can increase the damage even more. Health damage is maxed out, damage targets out of cover 10%, and talent killer. Why? Because I get critical hit damage and because I like critical hit damage. I don't like optimist or strain. I mean, they're both very good talents. I just prefer killer, but the talent can be whatever you like to play with. Killer, strain, optimist, doesn't really matter. All those three talents are pretty good. If we go to the mods, you will see I have 1, 2, 3 mods for critical hit chance. Each one of them gives me 5% critical hit chance, so that adds up to a total of 15% critical hit chance from the mods. The magazine is 20 rounds extra, but it reduced my reload speed, it's whatever. And then if we go to the secondary, of course, we have the LMG military MK46. To be honest, I haven't played with a lot of the LMGs, so there might be better ones out there. I like this one because it has the talent that I like and the attributes that I like. As you can see, maxed out LMG damage, 12% damage targets out of cover, and 6% damage to armor. And the talent is Frenzy. For every 10 bullets in the magazine capacity, gain +3 rate of fire and +3 weapon damage for 5 seconds when reloading from empty. So basically, the reason that, as I told you earlier, we want to get this ammo pouch over here is because that ammo pouch is this attachment, this mod, which gives us 50 extra rounds instead of 35 that we would get if we were using any other specialization. The attachments, again, 1, 2, 3 attachments for critical hit chance. All of them add up to 50% critical hit chance. Moving on, we have 2 Walker Harris pieces. Why? Because we want to get the 5% damage to armor. We didn't go for the 5% damage to health because damage to health is not even close to being as important as damage to armor is, or damage targets out of cover, in my opinion. Damage to health is really irrelevant because by the time the enemy doesn't have any armor on him, you're gonna be able to kill him fast anyways, and because our weapon already has like 21% health damage, right? So 2 Walker Harris pieces, 5% damage, weapon damage, and 5% damage to armor. Of course, our rolls are as high as possible. 15% weapon damage, 5.7% critical hit chance, 12% critical hit damage, and a 6% critical hit chance mode, which, as I told you earlier, you can change from a critical hit, doesn't really matter. The second Walker Harris piece is the chest piece. Weapon damage maxed out, 5.5% critical hit chance, 12% critical hit damage, 11.7% critical hit damage mode, and then as our talent we have glass cannon. All damage you deal is amplified by 25%, all damage you take is amplified by 50. I would like to have the perfect glass cannon, but obviously the perfect glass cannon is on a Provident defense piece, so we cannot get that on a Walker Harris, and I wasn't able to spare one brand set being Provident defense because it didn't suit my playstyle. I don't care about the headshot damage that it would give me. Moving on to the holster, we have one Fenris Group A/B for the 10% assault rifle damage, since one of our 2 weapons is an assault rifle. 50% weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage, 6% critical hit chance. Moving on to the knee pads, of course, is the Fox Prayers. 10% rifle damage is whatever, we don't care about it, but we get 15% weapon damage, and even more importantly, we get the 8% damage targets out of cover and the 12% critical hit damage. On the gloves, we have a Petrov Defense group piece here because it's the contractor's gloves. We get the 10% LMG damage, which is very nice when you're using our secondary, which is the LMG, and then we have 15% weapon damage, 8% damage to armor, and 6% critical hit chance. Last but not least, we have the backpack. We have a Grupo Sombra piece here for the 15% critical hit damage. We get 12.8% weapon damage from the core attribute, 5.2% critical hit chance, 11.8% critical hit damage, and 11.7% critical hit damage. And we have the Vigilance talent. Increases total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables this buff for 4 seconds. So, as you can see, when it comes to using our Police in 4, we have 10 plus 8, we have 18% damage targets out of cover, and we also have 5 and 8, right? Yeah, 5 and 8%, that leads up to 30% damage to armor, which is pretty nice. When we're using the LMG, however, we have 12 plus 8, that's 20% damage targets out of cover, and 6 plus 5 plus 8, that's 19% damage to armor, which means that when you're using pretty much any of those weapons, but especially the LMG, you will be dealing an insane amount of damage to both targets to out of cover and to targets with armor in it. I'm gonna add some gameplay in the background right now in order for you to see how this build actually performs. It's gonna be on heroic difficulty, maybe some legendary, I don't know, you will be able to tell. Before we close the video, however, I would like to mention that instead of the glass cannon talent on the chest piece, you can always go with something like Obliterate, for example, which at the end of the day will give you the same extra weapon damage, but it will not be instantly, activated when you start your gunfight. Someone could argue that we could get a Cheska by a robot piece in here in order to get the 10% critical hit chance, but since even if we take out, let's say, the critical hit chance that we added in our mask, right, and we drop our critical hit chance at 54%, at the end of the day, it's still pretty good, and I don't think that it needs to, go any higher. It's not like 54%, it's not high enough. As you can see, the gameplay in the background is with 54% damage, critical hit chance, and my critical hits are quite consistent. Closing this video, I would like to mention that this build is not about, just pure numbers when it comes to critical hit chance and critical hit damage and weapon damage overall. As I told you earlier, it tries to add as many multiplicative bonuses as possible. That's why I have all this damage to armor. That's why I have damage targets out of cover as much as possible in order to see, an alternative, very, very, very good red build compared to the one that most people are used to right now, compared to the one that I showcased in my previous red build video, the one with the maxed out critical hit chance and the maxed out critical hit damage. both of those builds work great and are very good to use both in legendary and heroic content in solo or in group. So yeah, that was it pretty much, guys. Thank you very much for watching the video. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye bye.